Hello everyone, and welcome to this session where I will talk to you about how to apply microlearning in a busy corporate environment like the advertising industry. I am Natalia Martínez. I'm from Colombia, yes, from where the best coffee in the world and the best food called arepas come from. I have been working in advertising for 17 years, and my actual role is Manager of Learning and Development for Latin America. I work for one of the best media advertising groups in the world called IPG Mediabrands. We handle media advertising for brands like Amazon, H&M, Nestle, Levi's, and others. We are in charge of making our clients grow by leading and managing their media investments, developing the best advertising strategies in the media at a global level. And we basically put all the creativity in the advertising in the media, such as digital, television, radio, and out of home. Now let's talk about my role. I'm in charge of making sure that people in my company can have knowledge to enhance their innovation capacity and skills in advertising. But what I really do in simple words, it's make people fall in love with acquired knowledge. But I constantly face a major barrier. The work in advertising is endless, which means that we as advertisers have less and less time every day. So my big question always is, how do I capture the attention of all these people? In more common example, the big question will be, how can I make someone fall in love with me if they don't have time for me? This is a question that any of us may ask ourselves, regardless of the field we work in. And the answer will be quite uncertain. Maybe you can comment in the chat. But maybe some of you will answer something like, well, then I'm not interested in making someone fall in love with me because that person doesn't have time for me, right? Well, I can answer that way because I'm paid to do that. So I have no choice. But I needed to find strategies to make people fall in love, not with me, but with what I do in learning, which means falling in love with the knowledge they need to integrate to become better advertisers. For us working in advertising, it is very important to stay up to date with the best advertising trends, like the use of online media, digital media consumption, constant changes and updates on digital platforms, leadership, analytics, e-commerce, and others. And all of these to offer our clients the best in terms of strategy, innovation, differentiation, and more. And to increase the level of knowledge in my agency, I need the workers' time to teach them. So one day, I start asking myself, what is the percentage of people that want to learn more about advertising trends? The result was 100%, of course. And then I asked myself, how many of those, like 3,000 people working from IPG Mediabrands in Latin America, how many of those have time to do so? Surprise, 0%. So I needed a strategy to simplify what I wanted to show. Then I found 7tabs as a great tool that helps me spread knowledge in a very interactive and dynamic way. Moving from simplifying 1 hour call into a 3-minute microlearning, allowing my audience to acquire only the necessary knowledge and fall in love with a new way of acquiring that knowledge. So let's see the 5 things that microlearning helped me with. First, simplify. In Latin America, this is very difficult because we are so romantic and we like to talk a lot. For example, here is so common that have a very long meetings about a simple topic, and anyone who has a Latin American friend knows I'm telling the truth. So with microlearning, I can now say only what I need to say in a few words and in a very organized way. So simple. To prove this, I will show you a microlearning course of 8 visuals that will change the way you think. First, this is what I'm talking about. Using complicated language limits learning. Fancy words, simple words. It's about communication. Leaders make an impact, whereas managers simply make decisions. This is one of my favorites. It's not what happened, it's how you frame it with storytelling. Failure is not a bad thing as long as you learn something. Game changing in business result. A great exercise to clear mind, write. Write and then put it into a microlearning. One of my favorites too. The union of merry collaborative thoughts, creativity. And finally, this one, before sharing who you are, make sure you have a lot to give. Fill your cup first and you will overflow into the lives of others. I hope you are enjoying my microlearning so far, but let me know in the chat what do you think, please. So let's continue. Second, my audience increased by 4. Normally, our live trainings have about 200 people, but in microlearning courses, I have had more than 800 people receiving the same information actually. So my reach has increased a lot in recent months. Here I want to show you the micro course I made to tell people how to set their annual goals in our platforms. Where you will see I use artificial intelligence, quizzes, polls, normal cards. And I want to show you the statistics behind this microlearning. More than 800 people have seen it and have been able to understand this information that will facilitate their professional career. So my reach increased a lot. Let's move to the third. I collect data. This allows me to ask my audience about the topics they would like to know about, or if they have more questions, so I can answer that question in additional sessions. This is how we look at microlearning collecting data. For example, you can ask them, do you consider that you have leadership skills? And maybe they're gonna answer, I would like to know more about it, so I'm here to do that. Or for example, do you feel good at data analysis? No yet, I will need a training, so I'm here to do that. Or do you use artificial intelligence? I would like to learn how to use it more, learning help, and I'm here to do that. So these is our good examples. Let's move to another. Fourth, I'm a pocket resource that allows me to always be where people need me. With just one click, they can have consolidated information. For example, if they have a meeting with a client and they want to tell them about a trend, they can read a 3-minute micro course on their way to work and arrive at their meetings with valuable information for intelligent and valuable conversation. or 5 minutes before shutting down their computer in the evening. They can easily learn about the trend on social media like Instagram or TikTok. Or here is the story of a colleague who, while he was going to get a coffee, he put on his headphones and learned how to boost his creativity through a micro learning that explaining in with artificial intelligence. So while he was enjoying his delicious Colombian coffee, he was learning something new. This is the creativity micro learning with a summary about what creativity is, and a test, a poll about a common way to find creativity in, and 5 keys to successful creative campaign, like be a star in the story, the power of emotion, the TikTok effect, the
Is it just me or did Natalia? Oh, I think we might have lost her. I will fill in. Oh, you're back. You're back.
I'm back.
Don't worry. Hey, I came in to fill the space, and there you go. You're back. You're all good to go.
Okay, awesome. I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm talking about this creativity microlearning with a summary about what is creativity, a test, a pool, um, and 5 keys to successful creative campaigns, like be a star in the story, the power of emotion, the TikTok effect, the green change, like being the change you want to see in the world, and the relevance of humor in advertising. Can you hear me good so far?
Can. You are all good now.
Great. And let's move on to the fifth and the last point. I have been able to create practical guides that support my internal mentorship initiatives, facilitating interactions between a mentor and a mentee with a practical questions and the order of each sessions, explaining the importance of the programs and other things. I'm going to show you the micro learning I create for this program, which is now in three language, Spanish, English, and Portuguese, taking advantage of the instant translation tool. Here you can find a bottom cards with links to take people to another session in the same micro learning, or bottom cards to download the material so the participants can find all the steps and documents that they are going to need for these sessions. So, to summarize, microlearning will help you with simplify, increase audience, collect data, be a easily resource, have a practical guide for your initiatives and more. And now you know, to make people fall in love with knowledge, you have to give them what they need the most: time. Time to use that knowledge in their daily lives. And to finish, here is my QR code to find my LinkedIn so you can contact me, or if you need more information about my company, and also will be very helpful your opinion in my little poll inside. And thank you very much for having me, and can't wait to see the other conference.
Okay, Natalia, if I were to give out an award for timeliness, you would win it. You crushed it on there. That was awesome. Not only was your presentation fantastic, but you crushed it on the timing, even despite a little technical snafu, which was fantastic. By the way, where are you located?
I'm sorry, I can hear you.
Where are you located?
I'm located in Bogota, Colombia.
Okay. All right. All right. I probably should have guessed that based on what you said. I just don't know if you specifically said it. This is awesome. So I've got some questions for you along the way as you do this, and some of the questions coming in. But first of all, before we get to it, can everybody give Natalia a round of emojis for her awesome presentation and knowledge sharing?
Thank you.
My first question for you, and they're coming in, they're just flying in, is when you think, I loved your point about simplicity. and how important it is to take complex things and distill them down to the essence of what's really there. That can often be, I feel like that's a lot harder than people realize. And I'm curious, and one of the questions, I'm trying to think who asked this. Somebody asked it, but somebody asked, how do you, or how have you taken some of these really complex ideas and concepts that tend to be things people want to just put way too much content into, and actually break it and make it simple? Do you have any best practices or recommendations?
It's a long way actually, because
Okay.
yeah, it's hard. Actually, I was saying like for our Latin American people, it's hard to do not explain with a lot of words. So I'm trying to do an exercise or something like that, like putting all the information in a word and try to discover how is really my goal.
Okay.
I just need to say something like a specific say. It's just my goal. It's just a few words. It's really
Okay.
a few words. It's not necessarily an hour. So I need to realize that maybe it's not complicated. The knowledge or learning is not complicated.
Okay. I love that. And I know with my design teams over the years, I used to do that. They hate me. If any of you are on here, you may know this, but they used to hate this because they would put their content together and I would say, now go back and write it in half as many words. And then they'd do it and they'd come back and I'd go, now go back and write it in half as many words. And it drove people bonkers sometimes. There's still probably people who have a bit of a grudge for me on this one, but it actually, some of them realized like this actually made me better because it forced me to think about what words I'm using and how I'm doing it. And I'm also curious because, by the way, the visuals on your content are fantastic. And I'm curious if some of that is intentional in terms of communicating what you're trying to communicate with less words.
Yeah, of course, it's intentional because I always trying to simplify my words in image, because in microlearning you need to communicate few words and maybe an image, a GIF. So yeah, it was intentional. And for example, I was remembering that I had a story yesterday. I saw a document like 10 pages, and I was trying to convert that document into a micro learning. So I start to I don't know how can I say, like, subtract the importance. Just
Okay. Yeah. Just like mine out the really important stuff.
yeah, exactly. So I always trying to do, and I always try to find images that simplify something, like a word in an image. That is hard to.
Okay. Okay. Got it. So another one that came up from, let's see, who was this? Who was asking this? Alyssa. Alyssa was talking about this, and I think it's really interesting because actually some of the chat and dialogue has been around this balance of, kind of just content that you're consuming, and then the energy and passion that comes in from the experiential side of learning. And I've worked with Latam a lot over the years. By the way, I love the energy from my Latam partners. There's a flare of energy that comes from Latam that is not, it's unmatched anywhere else in the world.
Awesome.
How do you balance that with asynchronous content? Like, how do you bring that energy, that passion? How do you bring that into that so it's not just, okay, this is stuff? And do you supplement? Do you have other things that you do as part of the experience?
Yeah, it's hard to explain because you already use the word passion, and passion for us is a lot of words, a lot of movements. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's hard, but I really appreciate how many tools have 7 tabs. For example, I have no just words, I
Yeah.
have videos, I have links, I have quiz, I have pool, I have everything to use with my audience. So they are so happy because for they it's just not words. It's more like that than that.
Okay.
So they are enjoying my micro learning because they can find GIFs, videos, music, links, everything
Yeah.
there.
So you're bringing in a lot of the, and I love this is where sometimes we have this idea in our head that micro learning is this. And what you just described, which I think is a really awesome thing, is you're actually using your creativity to bring in different elements and pull it together in a really meaningful way that actually expands the dynamic nature of it. It doesn't just have to be text on a page, which I'm just going to, you cut out again. So I'm just going to assume that my analysis of that was correct. But in case Natalia is delayed in logging back in, I would just ask that everybody, can you give Natalia another, that's what happens. You talk to me too long, you just go, you know what, I'm out. Welcome back. No, well, you came back just in time, because what I was telling everybody is to give you another round of emojis. I really appreciated your presentation and just the energy you brought to it.